Conclusion. Scaling the mountain. Before you put this book down and start planning your peak launch session, there's one more quick thing I want you to absorb. And if you're eagle-eyed or acronym-happy like I am, this may be something you noticed with mounting frustration while reading, although my editor reassures me that the majority of you likely didn't clock it. The core team behaviors that created the backbone of this book, and that mean the difference between success and failure for VC-backed companies, are alignment, symbiosis, communication, empowerment, and learning. I presented them in that order because it was the best way to communicate and build on the concepts and tools that create peak. But when I hand out reference materials at conferences, when I put together the rucksack knowledge base, and when I present peak to teams for the first time at their launch sessions, I use a handy acronym for these behaviors. SCALE. Symbiosis, communication, alignment, learning, empowerment. So, apologies for the Easter egg, but now that you know peak like the back of your hand, right, you can move forward with that handy mnemonic device and adopt it as your mindset going forward. Scale. That's what we're after, reaching for not just the closest peak, but the highest peak. Building to scale, setting up the organization so it can grow rapidly without re-architecting over and over, reaching for not just profitability, but for a massive return on investment, a huge exit at the end of years of the hard work you and your team have dedicated yourselves to. An exit, for example, like the one achieved by the fintech company from Part 2 Alignment. After running peak, they'd recently enjoyed a 10 times exit. Building an unstoppable team is the difference between success and failure. And it's a choice. It can't be left to chance or assumption. It's something that must be actively chosen day in and day out. Teams that win demonstrate core behaviors that are non-negotiable. It's important to understand that winning this game isn't a best out of 3 situation. You need to have all 5 scale behaviors to get to the summit as a team. And if you choose to work on them, if you choose to commit to the systems of habits that will build those behaviors, your team will become unstoppable. Committing to peak doesn't require a ton of extra work. In fact, it's less work. It does require consistency, though. It's not an a la carte menu. If you're feeling strong about some of the tools and habits you learned in this book, but shaky on others, continue to reread or re-listen to this book, or head over to collective-genius.com to get your rucksack subscription going. Get set up with your Peak Teams Guide and become one of our Peak teams. Peak is about drilling the fundamentals, building the habits that create winning behaviors. These fundamentals are repetitive, methodical, and absolutely crucial. Remember, fundamentals win championships. I'll repeat that Bruce Lee quote. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. The words Bruce Lee and fear in the same sentence really underlines the power of mastering the fundamentals, and that's the whole purpose of Peak. As founders, we're driven to take a path others haven't taken, to build and create the unthinkable, to succeed against all odds. That's who we are. That's what propels us forward. We're driven to create and go beyond. And with our success, we drive the world forward. Your success isn't just important to your investors. It's important to everyone. Keep climbing, my friends. Never, never, never stop climbing. Take the Peak Teams assessment. Ready to see where your team stands right now and start to plan your roadmap to the summit? Head over to collective-genius.com/peak-teams-assessment to take the Peak Teams assessment and get started.